Alright, start right here. So this is Kenya Amir with the legend, the man himself, man who needs no introduction, Grachan Moncur III.
My man.
So, alright, let's start. Let's start from the beginning. So, not the beginning, but I always ask this question as a musician. What is like that one time where you knew you were gonna do music? Like that realization as a child where like you really just stepped into it and was like, this is what I really love.
Okay. I think it was, when I was very young, the first instrument my father bought me was a cello. I didn't show too much promise with strings, uh, to myself or to my father either. And I know he wanted me to be a bass player like him, But anyway, a few years later, he came in with a silver-plated B-flat slide trombone. A silver-plated B-flat that he had got a pawn ticket from one of his friends. As a matter of fact, let me try to remember the names. The name will come back to me. But it's funny that this particular person that my father bought the pawn ticket from, he bought the pawn ticket for $5 from this person, and I think his name was Chink, not Chink, they come to me. But anyway, when he walked in with it, and it was wrapped up in newspaper, he didn't have a case. I guess the guy went to the pawn, I don't know how he got it. Anyway, gave him $5. But when I took the newspaper off and I looked at it, when I first looked at it, that's the first time I'd seen a silver-plated horn. I'd seen, like yellow brass instruments. But something hit me when I first looked at this silver-plated, that I just felt something very special about it. And it's strange when he gave it to me, and I think my father had to go out for a while after he did. And right away, I didn't waste no time. I went in the kitchen and started playing it. And I started doing things on it, which I didn't know what I was doing, but it felt good to me.
Mm.
It felt good,
Right.
and it felt very natural,
Mm.
And I kind of felt like I was, that I had met my match, I felt at home, you know what I mean?
So, alright. So reading online and like knowing that your father was a jazz bassist, Grachan Moncur II, right? When you finally went away to school and you decided and you had that decision between school and going on the road, what was that like? Because in the blogs and like everything that I read,
No. You're going too fast.
Okay.
Going too fast. Because there's a reason why. You asked me a question. You asked me about the experience I had, what made me want to feel like I really want to get into music. That was the question.
Right.
That's the
Was
question.
that the same thing that pushed you to make that decision?
No,
or was
listen,
that something different?
just slow down.
Okay.
I didn't finish.
Oh, okay.
The idea was, I tell you, my father left. When he came back, when he came back, I was just playing a whole lot of stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. And so my father got annoyed with that. He said, man, I don't want to hear you playing all that mess. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to teach you the basics. You got to get a book, and I want you to stay in the books. I want you to stay in the books. I don't want to hear all that mess you playing. That don't mean nothing. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're supposed to know what you're doing when you're playing music. You understand? And you got to start right. And he was right. So he taught me the basics. He taught me, like the bass and the treble at the same time. He showed me, almost like I was playing piano or something. And anyway, as far as that, I thought it was very important for me to tell you, you know, my father's reaction with me just messing with the horn, his reaction to wanting me to start right and to get in the books.
Mm.
Now we can get
Wait, so it was the reaction that led you to love music, not the reaction from your father, like to do it the right way, not just the music itself.
Well, it was a combination of both. I found out I have, you know, like I had a natural feeling for the instrument, and I seem to have gotten a pretty decent sound for somebody that had never played a brass instrument before.
Mm.
And people would always compliment me on my sound, you know. Uh, but what you're asking me now, what was the question? The last thing you just told me.
So, what you said the end of that, and correct me if I'm wrong. You said that when your father came and he saw you playing, he made you turn around and learn it the right way, and that's when you fell in love with music. So I was
No,
asking.
that wasn't when I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it when I saw the instrument.
Okay.
And when I started playing it, I liked
Right.
it.
Okay.
That's what made me want to play it. Me,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship with the instrument
Right.
made me want to go further with it. The way I felt, it was natural for me.
Mm.
You know?
The relationship with the instrument. What do you mean by the relationship with the instrument?
How the instrument took to me and I took to it. It's like if you buy a dog,
Right.
you know? Either you love the dog or you don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta have a relationship. Whatever you're doing, you gotta feel, you gotta feel like it's right for you. You know what I mean? And you're right for it.
Right.
It's a two-way street. So that's what made me want to go further.
Mm.
Because I felt like there was possibilities for me to uh, really be interested in learning how to play the instrument the way I want to play it,
Mm.
the way I wanted to play it. You know?
So the way you wanted to. So, all right. So you just talked about your dad getting you to play music the right way, right? So when did you make that transition to start doing like your own thing?
It's no look. First of all, you go through a lot of ups and downs. It's a combination of people. You got to meet other people, other musicians. Uh, it's like a gradual thing. You know, it's not one thing that happens. You know, once once the bug hits you, it got you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in pursuit. There's no end to it. Right now, I'm still in pursuit. I mean, I've been through changes. I've had to I've had to stop, and I had to redevelop myself at least 4 or 5 times within the last 60 years I've been playing, because I had dental surgery 3 times. I had to redevelop each time. Then I finally got upper and lower dentures. So all those things made me have to stop and restart. Every time you have to do that, you have to have it in your heart. There's no amount of money in the world. You ain't even thinking about no money. All you're thinking about is trying to learn how to play that instrument. You understand?
Mm.
And wanting to do it better than anybody else. It's a competitive thing, just like playing basketball, especially back then. Because that was like the pioneering days. We're going back to the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. The 60s is when I really became a professional. Now, really, I was a professional even in high school because I was playing. Anytime you play and you get paid for it,
Mm.
it's a profession. You
Yeah.
know, you may not be the greatest professional in the world, but anytime you get paid,
Mm.
you become a professional. And if you start thinking like a professional, every time you play your instrument, you're gonna want to get paid. So you're gonna try to arrange your life in a sense where that happens. So you got to be with other people, get people to help you, manage you, and this and that. It's a lot of components. You know, after you get the desire,
Mm.
then you have to, you have to be in pursuit of how you could do this. Uh, uh, when my mother suggested that she wanted me to try out the school, Laurenburg Institute, that was a very good move for me because they had a very good music department. And Dizzy Gillespie had been to the school and went there because Dizzy Gillespie only lived 17 miles away from Laurenburg. Uh, uh, Dizzy lived in Cheraw, South Carolina. Laurenburg was right at the borderline of North Carolina and South Carolina, uh, going south. It was at the borderline of, like I said, 17 miles from uh, Laurenburg was the borderline of South Carolina. It was called Cheraw. The first place you get to was called John Station, and that's about 10 miles. And then after that, 7 more miles, you run into Cheraw. Cheraw. That's where Dizzy was from. So Dizzy, by the time he was, Dizzy was their number one first big star that came out of the school. You know. But uh, the director who became the director, his father was director. I came there when his father was still living, who was the real founder of the school. Uh, Laurenburg was a very good place because the spirit of Dizzy was there, which was jazz.
Mm.
And they had a very good marching band. As a matter of fact, the band won some awards. And there was a guy there by the name of Philip Hilton, who was a fantastic guy. He was a little older than me. But he was an excellent trombone player, much farther advanced than any high school person you would have imagined to be, you know. And he was leaving, he was graduating, and he saw my potential, even though I just only had the horn 1 year. He saw a potential in me. He saw a natural ability. So he crammed a lot of stuff in me to be able to play the book, the marching band book. A lot of John Philip Sousa songs, marching songs, and etudes, which is great to practice. Because that's what you practice out of your books anyway, that kind of stuff. So I got into practicing very seriously down in Laurenburg. And And I got to be well respected down there for my, dedication to the music.
Mm.
And all that helped, me to give me confidence to want to be in pursuit of a career, you know. And so that side of it, that's going into, how I got into it technically.
Mm.
But there's the other side that I got into before I even got to that.
Mm.
That was very important. And that happened after I graduated from a school that was called Cole's Place. Cole's, I think it was spelled Cole apostrophe S Place. It only went up to the fourth grade, and you graduated with cap and gown and everything. And then you went to a regular uh, grade school or middle school, fifth grade. In other words, you graduate from the fourth grade to
Mm.
the fifth. So I started at Morton Street School in the fifth grade from Cole's Place because that was the district I was living in at the time.
Mm. And this is all in New York, or this is in
It's in Newark.
this is North. Okay. Oh, Morton Street. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Morton Street
Yeah.
School, yeah. Yeah. The only reason why, okay, let me clear this up. My mother was visiting my father the night I decided to come in this world. She was pregnant. She was visiting my father. My father was working at the Savoy Ballroom.
Mm.
That was one of the biggest, most famous ballrooms in the world. And that's where he was working as a part of a house band.
Mm.
And his half brother, his name was Al Cooper, was the leader of the band. Matter of fact, it sent for my father from Florida to come up here to join the band. Okay. Now I'm getting into stuff. It's interweaving. Let me backtrack. You put me back on track. The last thing I said before
Okay.
that.
So we were on the transition in high school.
Yeah.
You classically being trained and getting up the confidence to make that jump to do it as a profession.
So what happened in the fifth grade? By the time I got to the fifth grade, the first day I came in the class, the teacher introduced me to the class because I came in from another school. And she told this fella, his name was Robert Bowens, who became my best friend all during my grade school period. Anyway, she said, Robert Bowens, Robert was on the left-hand side of the class, the last seat in the back, on the left-hand side of the class. She said, Robert, would you raise your hand? She said, I want you to sit in front of Robert Bowens. So as soon as I got there, check this out. As soon as I got there, when I sat down in the seat, Robert tapped me on my shoulder. He said, hey man, I like your knickers. I was wearing knickers and argyle socks. He said, I like your knickers, man. He said, that's hip. He said, the Prince of Wales wear that shit. That's what he said. That's what he said. Then after that, then he said, check this out. He said, he drew a picture, a caricature of a man. He said, can you draw? So then he gave me this picture that he just drew. I had never tried to draw. So I looked at what he did and I did something to send it back. He said, yeah, man, you cool. He said, I want to take you home, man. I want you to meet my brothers because they got some new music. Out of the Clippers, they got some music you probably would love. I had never, but just out of clear.
Yeah.
So I want you to meet my big brothers and listen to some of this music. So I did. went over there, and uh, by this time, I had been listening to all of my father's old swing stuff, but I was introduced to the bebop, the new era of stuff, and so brother said, "Who's your man on trombone?" Because by this time I had the trombone.
Mm.
So I told him, I called the cat. I said, "Benny Green." So yeah, he said, "Take this record and go back in the room and listen to this." And it was a record. He had a J.J. Johnson playing a real fast tune. And I heard J.J. down in Laurinburg. No, this is before. I ain't even got to Laurinburg. What I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. Anyway, what happened? When he said, I went back there and listened. So when I came out the room, he said, "So Grachan, who's your favorite trombone player?" I said, "J.J. I changed just that quick because that cat was bad." You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, that was part of my inspiration too.
So it was a culmination of things. It was a couple different things.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I don't know, the artists, a lot of artists these days, they struggle with making that transition, like trying to decide whether or not to take it on as a profession and whether or not to like really dive into it. So as somebody who's been in the game for for decades, right?
Yes.
Like you got some skin in the game. What would your advice be to these artists out here that are still making that decision and like who are in love with music but don't know yet or have the confidence to step up?
Well, first of all, I believe your heart tells you what to do. Music is just like life between a man and a woman. Like usually a man is attracted to a woman and he goes after her. And it's something about music. Once you hear something that you like, you want to go after it. You want to find out where you can buy it so you can have it for yourself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the first thing is you got to get the bug. Something has got to hit your heart, and your heart don't lie. It don't. Your heart don't know how to lie. You know what I mean? So you stuck. You dig? You hit. You got the bug. You dig? It got you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's how it happens. It's to be or not to be. Either you got it or you get it, or you're gonna get it or you don't get it. You don't got it. You don't got it ever.
Right. See.